Hi everyone, welcome to Making Things with String. My name is Kate, my pronouns are she, her, and this is my crafty YouTube channel. Today I've got some cross stitching to show you as usual, and also some knitting, so buckle in. Yeah, let's just get started. I've got one fully finished object to show you, so I want to start with that. So this piece, you've seen the stitching finished before. It is Birds in Winter by Modern Folk Embroidery. And I have finished it into this little circular box finish. I don't have my overhead camera set up today, so I'm going to be taking B-roll footage of all of my projects today to overlay. But yeah, this is a little cardboard box that I picked up at Michael's, and I picked up some fabric that I lined the inside of the box with. I had this green fabric already, and I picked up a couple kinds of ribbon, so this olive ribbon and wine colored ribbon around the top of the box, and I also picked up this little wine colored cording that I put around the finish on the top. And yeah, this is my finished small for the Smalls Exchange at Stitch North coming up in April. So this is my first time attending an in-person retreat, and this is my first small that I've stitched for such a purpose. So I hope that whoever gets it enjoys it. But yeah, this is also my first time finishing something like this, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I really like this type of finish because it's a functional item now that you can keep things in. So yeah, really excited about this finish, and it's good that it's done because April is coming quickly and we will soon be off to Stitch North. So I'm glad to have that done. So yeah, again, that was a piece by Modern Folk Embroidery. It's actually a freebie available on their website. And yeah, I also have one finished stitching piece. This is the March Stitch for Pride piece. And it is a cute little sriracha bottle. It's kind of blowing out and looking crazy here, so I'll just kind of put it back here for you to give you an idea of the whole piece. So cute. And we'll do some overhead footage here while I'm talking a little bit more about it. So this chart is part of Stitch for Pride, like I mentioned, which is a year-long monthly chart accompanied with information about LGBTQ artists. So this is designed and put out by Dee from Dee's 20 Stitches, and yeah, this is the March piece. So I've done January and February and March, and so the artist here that's being represented by this very cute sriracha bottle is Stephanie She, and Stephanie is a ceramics artist who does a lot of replicas of sort of nostalgic food items from her own culture. And I think she's also branched out into just kind of other Asian diaspora cultural food items. And yeah, the learning information that we got included a few like videos and things to have a look at her art. She does these really cute little dumplings that you can buy. And so yeah, I really enjoy that. I think it speaks to a lot of people because we do feel really nostalgic about those food items that we grew up with. I know that I feel that way about certain food items from when I was a kid, like cereals and things like that. And I love a good sriracha sauce, so I just really like this pattern. I think it's super cute. I stitched this piece on a 36 count fabric from thesewingshop.ca. It's blowing out so badly. The linen colorway is called Throwback, and it's this sort of vibrant, almost neon yellow green, which does not pick up on the camera very well. And I stitched it using DMC threads. The green colors were DMC 987 and 988. And the main bottle colors were DMC 349, 350, 351, and 352. And so the sort of called for thread that was custom dyed for this, I don't have that floss pack, but I could see a picture of it, and it was sort of like green pink variegated, and I just had the DMC, and that's what I've been stitching these with. So I wanted to mimic the variegated effect. I didn't want my bottle to be just a solid DMC color, so that's why I picked that variety of DMC colors. And then what I did was, when I was cutting my threads, I cut them like fairly short, quite a bit shorter than I would normally cut one strand of thread to stitch with, and then I just alternated between those threads, going from lightest to darkest, and then back to light, and then back to dark. And I think it turned out looking like pretty similar to the way that some variegated threads tend to look. So that's pretty interesting, and I might try that technique again sometime. But yeah, that's my cute little March Stitch for Pride piece. Really like this. I think I might stitch it again potentially and like give it away to some people. Just like, might make a cute little ornament, like a little Christmas or tree ornament. Anyways, I really like it. I really like that one. It was a little bit bigger than the previous two stitch wise, I think, but it was really fun to stitch. Yeah, loved it. So let's keep going through sort of like the goals, things that I had planned to complete for March. So I definitely wanted to finish that Birds in Winter piece, and I wanted to stitch the March Stitch for Pride piece. I also have a monthly goal related to Needs No Paint, which is a chart by Heaven and Earth Designs. The art is by Jill Clare. This is a piece, a full coverage piece, that I am aiming to finish this year. In order to do that, I need to stitch about 4,500 stitches per month on it. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit of footage of what Needs No Paint looked like the last time you saw it in my last video, and I'll give you a look at what it looks like now. So here's Needs No Paint. Try not to get like totally blown out. So yeah, I am still working here in the body on this piece and just plugging away. And yeah, that's what it's looking like. I started Needs No Paint in 2021. I actually don't know the exact date. I thought it was in the summertime, but then I've actually figured out since then that it must have been earlier. Right now I'm saying it was about February 2021. And I am stitching this on a 28 count white even weave of some type. And we're using the DMC and stitching this 2 strands of DNC over 1 fabric thread, tent stitch or half stitches. Last time in my previous video, I was 44.91% complete this piece, having stitched 37,636 stitches. Today I am at 50.09%, or 41,969 stitches. So super exciting. I cracked that 50% mark on this piece, and I stitched 4,419 stitches on Needs No Paint this month. So really exciting that I'm keeping up pretty closely with the goals that I have for this piece and just plugging away at it. So that is, I think, all that I need to say for today about Needs No Paint. Yeah, it's been interesting because later on I'm going to be talking about my knitting and sock madness. So knitting has actually been taking up a lot of time this month, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to have enough time to do all my stitching, but I did. And so yeah, that's great. Hopefully the same will be true in April. Okay, let's do a WIPGO update next. I had, going into March, 2 WIPGO calls that were not yet complete. The first one was one of the calls for March, and that is Gingerbread House 1 by Country Cottage Needleworks. I think I have a photo of that. I also have the pattern here, but I like photos better. It's less glary. So this is just an ornament. It's the second one in the series that I have done, even though it's Gingerbread House 1. I started with Gingerbread House 2. And so my WIPGO call was to complete half of this ornament. And here's what I've gotten done so far. I'm stitching this on a 32 count Affogato linen by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm using the called for threads from the pattern. However, there's one called for color that I don't think I quite have enough for the pattern, because, like I said, I've already stitched another gingerbread house in this series with the threads that I have. So the color that I think I don't have enough of is Weeks Dye Works Pecan, and that is what is going to be the house, the background of the house. So my plan for the March WIPGO call is to stitch everything except the house, and then see when I am at my local needle workshop next if I can find either Pecan, Weeks Dye Works, or a good alternative over-dyed variegated floss to replace that with, and or see if I can find something at Stitch North, like a Roxy floss color that might be a good substitute for that. And so then once I find that, I'll be able to finish the piece next time it gets called for WIPGO to finish it off. So yeah, I think finishing everything everything except the pecan should be at least 50%, and then after that I'll just stitch the whole house at once, I guess. So that's how that's going. Yep. These are cute little patterns. So the second incomplete WIPGO goal that I had for March was to finish my 5 days of stitching on my Twilight Imperium for Asteroid field. Yeah, so I actually did finish that stitching. I'll show some footage here of what it looked like the last time that you saw it. At that point, I had done 3 stitching days, I believe, and I had completed 526 stitches for a total of 7.9% on the pattern. here's what it's looking like now. I'm now 17.2% complete this piece, and I've done 1,138 stitches on it. It's turning out really well, and I'm enjoying this quite a lot. So it's very cool. I am stitching this on, I think it's a 16 count Navy Aida that 16 or 18 count Navy Aida that I bleached with some spray bottle bleach to create the modeling that you see there. And I'm using some DMC thread to stitch this. I'm using 2 strands of thread over 1 fabric thread or 1 Aida square, and this is full cross, which is slightly different than most of my full coverage. Usually I do tent stitch, but this one is full cross. So yeah, that's my progress on that, and that's this WIPGO call complete. If you remember from my last video, this has been sort of like an adjustment on my approach to these Twilight Imperium board game tiles, and it's going really well. So I think we'll be sticking it out with this, and hopefully I'll enjoy them a little bit more than the other patterns that I had created. These are patterns that I created myself by uploading images of the board game tiles to pixelstitch.net and creating the pattern myself that way. So that's great. That's another square marked off of WIPGO. The next thing I'd like to show you is my progress on my Dimensions Gold Collection Petites toy shop chart. I'm stitching this as part of the Hello Dimensions sale run by Liz Matthews from Hello from Liz Matthews. And they're actually stitching the coffee shop. I didn't have the coffee shop chart, so I'm stitching my toy shop, and trying to follow along as best as I can with the sort of prompts that Liz is putting out for that one. It's not a one-to-one mapping, and I am a little bit behind still, but here's some footage of what this piece looked like the last time that you saw it. And here is what it looks like now. There's a little sled over on the right that I've started. I think I'm going to fill that in because one of the things that Liz completed was a sled on the toy shop, and then the most recent update was that she had done like the store banner, so I think I'm going to try and work on that as well. But I also have been just thinking, you know, why don't I just like stitch it just like fill in the middle and just start like stitching the piece. So yeah, I think this is something like today is actually March 30th, so I've got 2 more days of stitching in March before I sort of start up on my April goals. So I think I'm going to work on this dimension cell for the rest of today and tomorrow and see how much of that I can get done. I'd really like to get this one finished, just because I'm hoping to like start a couple new things soon. And while I don't have like any current rules about not starting projects or anything like that, like I don't have any WIP limits or anything, I am finding that I have, you know, quite a bit of WIPs for me, and I don't want to just like keep accumulating them without any thought going into it. So I want to finish this project before starting a new one, I think. And just to give you an idea, I currently have 15 works in progress total. Let me see, how many of these are ornaments? So 15 total works in progress. 2 of them are ornaments, which, I mean, technically they count as works in progress, but I know that I'm going to finish them by the end of the year. So, you know, they kind of don't count as long-standing works in progress. So 13 sort of meteor whips, and 15 total. So yeah, I think I really would like to finish Toy Shop before starting anything new, apart from WIPGO and ornament starts. So yeah, that'll be a bit of a focus for the next couple days. I'm still really enjoying stitching this Dimensions kit and all of the different kind of textures that you get from that style of stitching. So it's been a lot of fun. So the last cross stitch whip I want to show you that I've worked on in March is my mini African mammals piece. So this is a chart by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist is Cyril Marchetti, and it's mini African mammals. So this is a full coverage piece that I am stitching in memory of my mother-in-law Brenda, who passed away in January. And so I'm trying to, this isn't my focus full coverage, but I am trying to work on it a little bit every month once I get my Needs No Paint stitching done. So I did make some progress on it. I'm going to show you some footage of what it looked like the last time that I showed it to you. At that time, I had 3.3% of the chart completed, or 2,485 stitches. And here is what it is looking like now. So fairly similar, not a whole ton of progress, but I did a little more here, and I finished this blue column as well. So we'll get some overhead footage of this rolling for you to get a look at that. You can really fully see the giraffe's head right now, which is pretty exciting. So I am now 4% done this piece. I've stitched 2,995 stitches, so about 500 stitches in the past couple days. I think 500 stitches on a piece that I'm not like really focusing on is great progress for the month. So if I can do that every month, that'll be great. The piece is being stitched on a 25 count easy grid even weave from Zweigart. I'm using the called for DNC thread, stitching 2 strands of thread over 1 fabric thread using tent stitches or half stitches on this piece. And I really like stitching on this. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of like browns and greens and oranges, but I really, don't mind at all. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. And there's some pops of different colors, right? Like there's the blue sky area that's already showing up, so it's not like vast swaths of background or anything like that in this piece, which I really enjoy. Before I move on to knitting, I don't usually do like haul or stitchy kindness sections very consistently. But I did want to feature something today that I received in the mail from my friend Judith, and I just really appreciate this a lot and wanted to show it off. So Judith sent me and made me this amazing project bag. It's got this really cool dragon like galaxy fabric, and this nice sort of golden yellow contrasting fabric with a nice little tie on the zipper. And we started stitching a dragon piece together. Not sure if that piece is going to work out for Judith or not. It was a full coverage, that Venus chart from Heaven and Earth Designs. I didn't work on it. And I'm not sure if Judith is going to continue working on hers, but she so kindly sent me this project bag, and if you've watched many of my videos, you probably know I don't have many like real project bags like this. I only have one other proper fabric project bag, so this is really, really kind, Judith, and I just I wanted to show it off because it's really beautiful. I just love the fabric, and just to just publicly say thank you once again. I know we've chatted about this, but this is a really special thing that you created for me. And as somebody who loves crafting and making, and I love providing stuff that I've made to people as gifts, I understand the work that goes into something like this, and I find it very meaningful to receive gifts from somebody like that too. So thank you for sending that, Judith. So that's it for my cross stitching for the month. I'm going to move on to talking about my knitting, because I have done a lot of knitting since the last video. As you know, if you've been watching my previous videos, I'm taking part in a knitting competition called Sock Madness, run through the Ravelry group, Sock Madness. It's my first year participating, and I've been having a lot of fun with it so far. So I knit the qualifying round socks and qualified to be on a team. I finished the first round socks as well. So I can't remember actually if I showed any progress on these in my first video or not. But I believe that the pattern may have dropped like right after that video. Anyways, the round one sock pattern was called I Walk the Line, and that's, you know, a Ravelry sock pattern that you can get. And here are my Walk the Line socks. So these are knit from Patton's Croy sock yarn, 2 different colorways, sort of a lighter blue gray marled yarn, and a darker, very dark, like navy midnight blue. And the cool thing about these socks is you can see there's like this sort of chevron pattern, and that's how they are knit. So it's sort of helical knitting. Don't mind the little animal fur. Helical knitting in the 2 different colors, and using increases and decreases to create this sort of chevron pattern. So it looks like a chevron, but when you view the sock from an angle, you start to see these columns up here. Let's see if I can get it to work. Right, so you can see that there's sort of a dark blue column and light blue, and then dark blue, and then light blue. And that is accomplished with alternating. So like here in this column, the light blue stitches are purled, and in this column, the dark blue stitches are purled, so that when you look at it at an angle, those pop out and create these like vertical stripes down the whole sock. So kind of a bit of an illusion knit. And yeah, these are my round 2 Walk the Line socks. So I finished knitting these socks in a similar amount of time as I finished my qualifying socks. I think it took me about 6 days to knit these, and that was fast enough. I qualified for round 2. So the round 2 pattern was a pattern called Itigran. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but I'll show a picture of the pattern image here. These are some beautiful cabled socks with a sort of twisted stitch cable design on the front of the sock, and it's stunning, really beautiful. So I have finished those socks as well. Here's what they look like on sock blockers. So you can see this is another what they call strong heel. So you just sort of increase in this gusset, turn the heel, instead of doing like a heel flap situation, which is more typical for socks. And yeah, that's what they look like. So I'll put in a couple pictures here maybe of what they look like on my feet, because the top of the foot is really striking about this pattern. The yarn I used to knit this is by Ancient Arts Yarns, and the colorway is called Douglas Fir. It's in their Socknado fingering weight. I've actually knit several pairs of socks out of this type of yarn. I picked some up when I was in British Columbia on vacation, not last year but the year before. And I picked this yarn up at a yarn shop in Moncton, New Brunswick, called 3 Bags Full. So I've been there once before. It's a really cute little yarn shop just right in on Mountain Road in Moncton, New Brunswick. So I had been traveling through there with my mom, visiting my parents, and we stopped at the yarn store just because I knew that the pattern was about to drop. So I was visiting and needed some yarn. So yeah, I picked up a couple skeins of yarn there, including this Ancient Arts yarn. So really love those socks. Both of these socks are a little bit too big for me. I was wearing the 80 gram socks the other day and they were okay, but yeah, like a little baggy on my feet. So I may find homes for those socks with somebody else. But yeah, so those round 2 socks I completed in about 5 days, so got them done a little bit faster than my round 1 and qualifier socks. So I did qualify for round 3 as well. And right now we are sort of waiting for round 3 sock specs to drop, and then once the specs drop, which is just telling you what the materials are that you need for those socks, within 48 hours of that, the pattern drops, and then you can start your knitting. It's possible that they're going to wait until after the Easter long weekend is over so that people can kind of relax during their Easter weekend. I would be perfectly happy to get a pattern right now because we don't have a lot of big plans for this Easter weekend. Just a lot of hanging out at home, some friends visiting and things like that. But anyways, regardless, there will be a new pattern released very soon in the next few days to start round 3. So you can look forward to that in the next video. I think that's all that I have for today. So yeah, that's all my stitching. For April, I've got WIPGO calls. So WIPGO numbers for April were number 18 and 21. 18 for me is Winter Deer Ornament. This is from the Jingle Ball Baubles book from 2023, this past Jingle Ball. And this pattern, I believe, is by Tiny Modernist. I'll put a photo of that. So I'm going to try and stitch half of that ornament in April. The other April call, number 21, was the Santa Minikin Jingle Ball Bauble. And I've already completed that one. So I, again, just have one WIPGO call this month that I have not finished yet. So that'll be fairly easy. I'll need to do my 4,500-ish stitches on Needs No Paint. I would like to put some more work into the Hello Dimension cell. There will be an April Stitch for Pride chart coming out soon. And yeah, maybe a little bit of progress on mini African mammals, and then whatever else I can get up to apart from all of that. So yeah, looking forward to catching up again with you next month. Let me know what you've been working on down in the comments below. If you have any questions or comments or just want to chit chat, I'm always happy to read comments down there. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.